Welcome back. So let's kind of look at the components of design thinking. And again, we talked about this divergent to convergent thinking. This is a classic Murray Parker Follett thing in action, right? You take as many ideas as you can, and you notice, if you ask two people their opinion on something, right, or their opinions on something. Let's say they throw out 10 opinions. Person A throws out 10 opinions, and person B throws out another 10 opinions. You look, and it's like, okay, they disagree on 7 things. Person A disagrees on 7 things, and person B disagrees on another 7 things with person A. But there's these 3 things that they do agree on. Let's focus on the 3 things that we actually do agree on, and then build upon that, right? So focus on points of commonality between you and the customers. Looking at what the customer wants, looking at what you want, and then finding convergence between those two. What they want, what they need, what they desire, what you can provide. Right? There's going to be disagreements, sure, but don't focus on the disagreements. Focus upon the points of agreement. Okay, that's what we mean by divergent to convergent thinking. This is integration, to use Murray Parker Follett's terms. Okay? So you start with inspiration. You start with the biggest possible picture. Again, using that coffee shop. The economy's bad. How might we do X? How might we create a coffee shop where people can feel at home? That's a broad statement, right? How might we create a coffee shop that provides the best coffee in this county? Big statement. How might we provide a coffee shop that's a place for people to get together and support their particular faith? Big statement too. Okay, how might we? And so you start with that, and then you do what we call ideation, and that's just a fancy way of saying brainstorming. Okay? So you identify those latent needs, those needs that people don't know that they need them until they actually have them, and you start with you set the rules for the brainstorming session. You suspend all judgment. You don't ever say during ideation, oh, that's stupid, or you're dumb, or don't ever do that, right? Just take the ideas. Everything is welcome. Right? You can have anything you want. There's no budget, there's no rule of law, anything. This is an imaginative, safe space. Suspend all judgment. Be open to the absolute wildest things. Because with those wild and crazy suggestions that seem so far out there, there might be just a little nugget that actually works. That's where this divergent to convergent thing happens, right? So let's say that I throw out there, this crazy, crazy thing, and only 1% of that idea is useful. But if we can use that 1% of the idea, it doesn't matter that we've got to throw away the other 99% of the idea. We've got that 1%, and darn it, that's valuable. Open yourself up to the wild ideas. Get as many ideas on that board as possible. And there's different ways you can do it as a facilitator, right? You can do this like focus groups with your customers, or it can be something as simple as just talking to your customers and asking them questions, asking your employees questions. It doesn't even have to be like a formal survey that you're checking off, but you give them a cup of coffee and, hey, how do you like the coffee? How's your experience coming today? And then you can just engage them a little bit in conversation. I went to one coffee shop in France, and the owner would actually come around with some pastries. Would you like a free pastry, sir? Okay, great. And how do you like your experience? And just a little bit of a 5-minute chit-chat, informal kind of conversation. That's another great example of ideation in action. So you want to get as many ideas as possible. Yeah, you might have to throw out 99% of them, but if you get 1% something good, it's worth your time, right? That's all that matters, is you got 1% of something good. And then you look at that 1% and you put those ideas together and you improve upon them. Okay, great. You've got your 1% idea. Now how do we expand upon that 1% and help that, become valuable to our business? And then what you do is you start prototyping. Because chances are the customer won't like exactly what you think it is, and you've got to change it. So don't spend a lot of money on your prototypes. Don't focus on building the best coffee shop, but focus on doing, one thing at a time. So let's give a coffee shop example here. Divergent to convergent thinking. Okay? So you ask people, you say, okay, I think that there's like 10 things that we can do for this coffee shop. We need to have, great coffee, great food, great atmosphere, comfortable seating, great Wi-Fi, great music, great events, great customer service, great location. Trying to think what else. 10 things for a great thing for a coffee shop. That's actually a challenge. And really great friendly people that we attract. Okay, that's 10 things. Okay? Now, a lot of people can disagree on the importance of some of those things, but everybody would agree maybe that a coffee shop should have good coffee. Okay, let's start with that. So then we start with the inspiration. How might we provide the best possible quality coffee? And you get your little brainstorming session together. You're interviewing your customers, your employees, your different stakeholders. You're going to other coffee shops and saying what they're doing. Is it, how do we get that best coffee? And someone says, well, what if we put like peppermint in the coffee? And everyone's like, ah, ha, 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 that's dumb. Well, no, that's not suspending all judgment. Like peppermint in a coffee, that sounds interesting. What if it's like a peppermint mocha, which is what they have at Starbucks now? So maybe the peppermint in the coffee is not such a bad idea after all. Okay, that might improve like the taste of the coffee. Being open to wild suggestions. Those of you who watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, you ought to watch Latte Larry's versus Mocha Joe's. You know, with Latte Larry, he's actually got the coffee and it's got like, you stick it in the table and it keeps the coffee warm. That's a wild and absurd suggestion. And you know what? It's a pretty darn good idea. And that's what Latte Larry did. Okay? Generating as many ideas as possible. Well, let's amplify the coffee experience. So yeah, we want to get the coffee hot. And maybe people like the coffee better if they like the experience that goes with it, like the taste. So maybe we get the fancy barista that can talk politics with you too. And you get all this kind of cool stuff, okay? And then you start looking, it's like, okay, well, I don't know if we need to hire like somebody, a barista that has a ponytail and can discuss politics with you. That's maybe not that helpful. But what we can do is we can get, great coffee beans, because that was a good suggestion, and we can make sure we have those like warming cups, to keep the coffee warm, and maybe we can create like a nice relaxing ambiance so people focus on the taste of the coffee, and it turns out they like that, and say this is how we're improving on those ideas. Did we focus on the furniture and some of that other stuff? Well, I guess to an extent, but not really. We really focus on making a great coffee or coffee experience. And then we start our implementation, we start prototyping. Okay, we've got 10 different kinds of beans. We're going to try one each day and see what the customers like. Okay, turns out that they like one set of the beans, they don't like the other 9. We ditch it. Then we focus on making a great experience with that one set of beans. Let's take those beans and stick them in the warming mugs, and let's just keep moving. Okay? And then once we kind of get the coffee thing perfected, then we can start over. Well, how do we provide that great furniture, so that people are more relaxed? And then you can just do it again. This is very reminiscent of what we call abductive reasoning. Whew. It's a lot of moving pieces, isn't it? Well, as always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Looking forward to seeing the next one. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, that's like a like. Make sure you comment down below, and definitely hit that subscribe button. Looking forward to seeing the next video.